Make sure our audio is working. Hello, everyone. Make sure. Hello, test. Okay. Think we're good. So, what's up, geeks, and welcome to Investigation Shack, our not-so-regular interview show where I get to dive deep with your favorite geeky creators, from game developers to cosplayers, authors to YouTubers, and learn about them, their hobbies, passions, and uncover the untold stories of the brilliant mind behind your favorite content. I'm your host, Joe, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this quest with these creative powerhouses. So join me on this epic adventure as we roll the dice, uncover hidden truths, and embark on unforgettable quests together. Get ready for Investigation Check. Today, I have a very special guest joining us, someone who has been an integral part of one of the biggest events in the world of tabletop gaming. Please give a warm welcome to Dani Kennedy, the social media manager of Gen Con. With her finger on the pulse in all things gaming and impressive background in social media strategy, Dani is here to share some invaluable insights, tips, and behind-the-scenes stories about Gen Con and the exciting world of tabletop gaming. Hello, Dani.
Hello. Hi, how's it going?
Good. How's it been?
It's been good. It's a rainy day here in Seattle today, so, we're getting right into our rainy fall weather that is my favorite type of weather. So, I couldn't be happier.
Good. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So let's start at the beginning. What was kind of your first introduction into the geek space?
Yeah, I think like most people, I grew up playing board games. We had family game night, we had big family gatherings around board games. But then as I got older, I kind of dropped off, and I picked the hobby back up in, I don't know, probably 2013, 2014. I visited my friendly local game store, and I fell in love with them, and I fell in love with board games again. I went to my first Gen Con in 2016, just as an attendee. I was there visiting some friends, and I walked into the space and I was like, oh my God, I have to do this for a living. And so I, pulled a couple strings, started volunteering for the event team there. And also working at that friendly local game store here in Seattle. And there I started doing social media, doing event management, that kind of stuff. And in March of 2022, Gen Con called me and was like, hey, do you want to come run our social media? And I was like, yes, this is literally my dream job. Yes, this is what I want. And now here I am. Don't look back.
What was like those first board games that you started playing? Do you remember?
It's wild because the first board games that I remember playing with my family are those I call them target games. So like Kerplunk.
Mm-hmm.
We were a big Monopoly family. We were a huge Risk family. So kind of those mainstream mass market games were the very first ones.
When you worked at the tabletop game store,
Yeah.
your friendly local game store, did you have any things that you really enjoyed playing there, or was that mostly just the same?
Well, once I started working at the game store, I got introduced to a whole Euro games, that kind of stuff, like the more in-depth games, and that's where I found my love of the game Pandemic. It's a touchy subject these days about that being my favorite game, but it is my favorite game of all time. I also really love Villainous, and I started playing Catan and Ticket to Ride and all of these board games, and slowly built up my knowledge of games, and now I can pretty much pick up any game and be like, let's play this. I know how to play this, so it's really fun.
Do you have a favorite game now?
It's so funny that I get asked this question all the time. So I should have just boom, 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 right? My answers. But as I tell everybody, it changes depending on the quarter, depending on what's come out, that kind of stuff. My favorite game of all time is still Pandemic. I love that game so much. I've played it probably 20, 25 times and only ever beaten it twice.
Okay.
So I love that game. But right now, I am in love with the Unmatched series. And if you're not familiar with the Unmatched series, it's kind of a battle royale game of pitting different figures against one another. So, for instance, you could do Medusa versus Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So they've got like, I don't even know how many there are now. There's probably 30 plus figures, and you can mix and match their like fighting styles against one another. It's super fun.
So that's mostly like you like a lot of more like the strategic board games.
Call myself the light board gamer. So I don't like super in depth, hard, takes multiple hours to play. Not my deal. I like a good 45 to an hour and a half game. I am really bad at board games, so I am a gracious loser. So I like them to be very thematic. I like nature themed games, animal themed games. Theme is a lot for me when it comes to a board game, and then like mechanics and that kind of stuff kind of falls secondary.
Okay. Any games on the horizon that we should be keeping an eye out for?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. They just dropped the Essen lists. So I'm like looking through those just constantly. The one that caught my attention was King Domino Moon River, I believe it was what it's called.
Okay.
That one. I would put that on your Christmas list or your holiday list because it's going to be hot.
All right. So I know you already kind of touched on it, but so walk me through this process where you're working at a game store, and somehow and now you're going to Gen Con.
Yeah. It's the board game industry is not that big when you think about who works there and what kind of work people do. It's a lot of a lot of people. I had a good friend who was the head of marketing for Gen Con at the time, and he was like, I need some help. Come in, run social media for me at the show. It would be awesome. And so I was like, yeah, say less. I'll be there. And I did that for 5 years, and then they called me up to duty. So it just kind of was like a lot of like getting my foot in the door was a little bit hard. But once I was there, I was able to like make friends with the staff, and the staff knew who I was. And like, I really made myself a part of the Gen Con team before I was even a part of the Gen Con team.
What is that like working the day-to-day, just social media stuff, like on the floor as this new person?
It's wild. It's it's very quick pace, I run all over the place, especially on site. I'm like running back and forth. And we take up such a large footprint in Indianapolis that it's a lot of running back and forth. But I have a small team underneath me now, so that I have a little bit of extra help there. It's the best thing ever because it's I work remotely. So during the like kind of off season, I'm a little bit slower. I'm like coming up with content ideas and like having, my the other staff do silly TikToks for me and that kind of stuff. But when I'm at the show, it's like I bank a lot of material. I like interview people. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds like it would be a lot of fun. So the first time you went to Gen Con was just as a guest, right?
Correct.
So now that you're kind of like a veteran Gen Conner, do you have any like advice? Because this was us at New Age Geeks. It was our first year going to Gen Con for all of us. So
oh gosh,
it was wild. What advice do you have for people like trying to maximize their Gen Con experience?
I think my first key piece of advice that I tell everyone is you're gonna miss stuff. You're gonna miss stuff. You're gonna miss it. You're gonna feel like you have FOMO. There's so much going on. You need to go in ready to just miss stuff. After that, like, don't overload your schedule. Like, people will schedule event after event after event, and it's just, leave some time to just like wander around and check stuff out. Like, this year was our biggest year, so like I can't imagine this being like your very first Gen Con ever. Like, whew, it was a lot.
So, do you have like a favorite part that you really love, you have to visit every year now that you're spending it so long?
I am a big exhibit hall person. So I love the exhibit hall. I love demoing like the new games. As soon as like I get a little bit of a preview of what's to come before it is like public knowledge. But as soon as like Board Game Geek drops their like Gen Con list of all the games going to be at Gen Con, I like sit down and I make a list of stuff I want to demo or stuff I want to pick up. I'm not a huge person who does like events. But I love that. I love just exhibit hall. I love checking out the stadium and just like standing at the very top of the stadium and looking down at people playing board games on the field. It's like my favorite thing. It's there's so much, but yeah, I always have to check out the exhibit hall, always.
Okay. Any tips on how not to get burnt out, or is that kind of the same?
It is a little bit of the same. I am a big.
Okay, we are back. All right.
I rolled a nat one.
Yep, the internet rolled a nat one. Good fail. All right, so as you were saying, ways to avoid getting burnt out at Gen Con.
Right. Yeah. So the staff at Gen Con really is a big fan of naps. So we really like to take a nap, and especially it's so hard for us.
Oh.
This is.
All right, we're good.
Okay, maybe they don't want me to tell you about how not to get burnt out. Maybe this is my own. Drink plenty of water, eat some food, take a nap if you can.
All right.
It is what it is. You will get burnt out. It's a lot of stuff happening in such a short period of time that like if you are going to do a lot of things, you're going to get a little bit burnt out, but like as long as you don't overload your schedule and you don't take some breaks. Just take some breaks.
Okay, so let's dive in a little bit deeper on like this massive job undertaking you have as like managing all of Gen Con social media.
Yeah.
What is that creative process like for such a large scale event?
It's really interesting. So at the show, we have 2 photographers and I have a couple of other people who are taking photos with their phones. And so we capture thousands and thousands of photos. And that's a lot of stuff that I use throughout the year for like content, right? So announcements, anything like that. That drives a lot of it is getting those photos. But like in the like quote unquote off season, whenever we're not just pumping out announcement after announcement, it's a lot of just keeping up with trends, especially board game trends and like really silly things that possibly could become a way that I can switch it up into a board gaming niche or a convention niche, or like just reminding people that Gen Con exists, telling people to share, their experiences and that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. Like, for example, how often do you think of the Roman Empire trend? I was able to use that with Island Noodle, one of our food vendors, and everybody loved that. It was so funny. So I think it's like you said, just kind of keeping up with what is popular on the internet and like hoping you can make it related to Gen Con or board gaming in some way.
So, I know Gen Con's not this. How long has Gen Con been around now?
This past year was 56 years.
That's a ton of history for such a big event. How do you kind of balance honoring the history of the event with like trying to hope for the future and like follow those future goals?
Yeah, so the staff we're all remote and we get together 2 to 3 times a year where we really sit down and we talk about what we envision for Gen Con, and like we make a lot of big goals and we try our best to hit those goals. And they look different for kind of every team. And that's a big focus, is how do we keep Gen Con relevant, and how do we, quote unquote, change with the times,
Right.
even though we're still just a large tabletop convention. So it's like, how do how do we do that? How do we show people that this is the place to be, and how how to be a part of this community? It's a very delicate balance to like, guide it a little bit. But we have a great staff that has been working at Gen Con for a various amount of years. So they all have a lot of Gen Cons under their belt.
Yeah.
So they're always willing to help.
What are some of those, if you can say? I don't want to.
Yeah,
What are
no.
some of those future goals for Gen Con? Where do you guys see yourself on the social media directing side, I'll say?
Yeah, there you go. I was like, I can only really speak for myself. I can't really speak for all of Gen Con. For me, I want to show the world that Gen Con and the hobby itself is for everyone. So it's for every sex, it's for every race, it's for every, demographic out there. There's board gaming that is for you, and it's a great way to make friends, and it's a great way to like be a part of a community, even if you're across the country from one another. Like, this is Gen Con is the place to be, where you can be you, and you can just hang out and let your nerdy flag fly. And that's for me what is the biggest goal. As long as I'm at Gen Con, that's like top of mind.
Nice. That's awesome. That's a great future goal too, like to always be striving. And I feel like it's one of those goals you could always have too. It's like we always want to become better, more inclusive.
Right, exactly. And like, we do such a great job already. Like,
Yeah.
we have the BIPOC lounge, we have the Latin lounge, we have women in gaming events. Like, we do such a great job. It's just, how do we continue to do such a great job? How do we continue to show our diversity? How do we continue to like, be this safe space for people? And how do we show the world and the rest of the tabletop, industry that this is where we're going. This is what we're doing.
Let's fucking hang, dog. Let's all fucking get together. So I know you kind of touched on this a little bit, like following the trends and stuff like that. How do you balance the algorithm against like the content you want to create? Because obviously there's certain things that you're not going to want to follow necessarily.
Yeah. The algorithm is both my friend and my worst enemy. Depending on the platform, the algorithm is completely different.
Yeah.
And really, for me, I'm kind of lucky because I already had this like large instated fan base that I was just like given. The only place where I've had to really work for it is TikTok. Everywhere else I've got the eyes. So like on those other platforms, I can like post kind of whatever, and it usually gets the likes, it gets the engagement, it gets all of that. TikTok, it is more about like, okay, is this trend worth doing? Is this trend gonna like guide people to us?
Right.
Like, what is the like, where do I fit? And it's a lot of just throwing spaghetti at the wall. See what sticks.
Okay.
See what happens. I wish I could tell you that I have this huge, crazy, awesome, formula. Yeah, but I don't. It's just a lot of being silly on the internet and hoping that people find it endearing.
Do you have a type of content you like creating the most, like dancing or the voiceover stuff?
Yeah, I love a lip sync.
Yeah.
I love a lip sync so much. I tend not to do the dances. I did get a couple of the staff to do some of the dances. This past week, we were all together for the first time since the show. And so we were celebrating, we were planning ahead, we were doing all that stuff, but also we were having fun. So I got them to do a lot of really silly TikToks for me, and it's my favorite. But yeah, I would say lip syncs are really fun. I like answering questions, especially on TikTok, because it's just like such an easy format to do that with. I can just like talk to you. That's what I would say. It's my favorite.
Okay. Which is your favorite platform? TikTok, Instagram, Twitter? Are there other ones?
I really I think Instagram is my favorite.
Okay.
Instagram and Threads, those are my favorite. I spend the most time on TikTok because it's just, I can't help it. I don't know what they put in that algorithm, but I just
shoots out claws to your face.
Yep. I just keep scrolling, but Instagram I think is my favorite. And I think it's because it's curated, it's lifestyle images.
Yeah.
I can have a little bit more fun there. Threads is just absolutely unhinged, and I love it in the best way possible.
All right. So I guess you kind of already said this. Staying inspired to generate new ideas, that's just kind of just following the trends, or do you come up with like original ideas that you like to put forward?
I do come up with some like original stuff that like I just hope is good enough. I have learned trends is the best way to get followers and get more eyes on your stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the content I like to do and ideas, especially in the off season, right? So like, right now I do a lot of things with my own board game collection or my own hobbies. During like when we start getting busy in like March, April-ish, it becomes a lot more show focused. And so it's like, how do you get a badge? Well, let me tell you real quick how you can get a badge. Let me show you how to get a badge. How do you register for events? Here's how you do that. My fan base loves a good meme, so I will meme so many things. I have a whole folder of photos from this past Gen Con, of just fans in really silly positions that I do like caption this photo. They're so good. They're so good.
Okay. Well, you talked about the fans and stuff like that. How do you consider their feedback in the content you create? Do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. One of the I use this phrase all the time when I'm talking to like the Gen Con exec team, is that I am the bridge between our fans and the show. So everybody who works on the show and our fans, I'm that person who is talking directly to our fans. I will listen. Like I think we did a post, get to know the staff post like this last week, and there was one of our staff members' cat was in it, and people loved that cat so much that I was like, we're about to do pets of Gen Con, and everybody's pet's about to get featured on a post because people love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
People love, especially our fans, love to see behind the scenes footage. So they love to see the show before it gets set up. They love to see that kind of stuff. They love to see my work. My desk is a mess. They love to look at my desk. I like to try to hide clues to like what might be coming.
Okay.
See if we got any detectives on our cases. So far, nobody has found any of the clues or pointed them out in a way that is like, I don't know, maybe. After the show, I will sit down and I will like just take the feedback that is posted on socials, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like in my comment section. It can be in different comment sections that I find, and I try to use that to make whatever better. So the big one this year was Block Party, because we moved to Block Party from one location to this new location where it was this year, and so I took everybody's feedback there, and it was mostly very positive, but there were some things that like we could fix in the future or try to fix in the future. So feedback's very important to me, and I take it very seriously. Whenever I read your comment and you're like telling me something, I totally read it. I totally share it with the exec team. It becomes a weight thing about like what is more important, this thing or this thing. But they all know we read everything.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. I read every comment.
Just
good,
start
bad, and ugly.
Writing crazy shit. We need more inflatable balloons outside.
Listen, we might. I don't know. If I could tie a balloon to every restroom door, I think people would love that. That's one of the big questions is where are the restrooms? They're around. Good luck.
Just smell for them.
I don't know. Yeah, fine. You can find one.
So what tips or strategies? 'Cause I know you said you already came into a big group, a big audience with Gen Con. Do you have any like tips or strategies for building a group and keeping your community engaged?
Yeah. I learned a lot because when I took over the social media for Gen Con, it had been mostly just used as a post and ignore the comments, post and ignore the comments. So a few tips that I would tell you if you were starting out or you're starting a new channel, talk to every one of your people who post something, learn what they like, engage with your community in the comments and videos, whatever the case might be, because those fans are going to come to your aid when something comes up. They're going to be like, Gen Con's awesome. They are always in the comments. They love us. They love to listen to us, that kind of stuff. I've seen it happen. It's wonderful. Be yourself. If you're putting your face and your brand up for the world to see, just be yourself. Like, are there going to be mean trolls? Yes, but you got to get a little bit thicker skin and be ready to know that whoever's typing that doesn't mean anything to you.
Right.
That's a big one. I get the other staff will be like, how do you do this? It's so hard. And I'm like, I don't know. It's a special skill I have. Don't be afraid to try something silly. Even if you're like, oh, this barely makes sense. Try it anyway. Yeah. The worst case, you don't get any views and you can delete it later. I had maybe the worst TikTok that I've done for Gen Con. I guess it was probably a few weeks ago at this point. It maybe has 65 views on it, and I don't know what I did wrong. I have no idea what I did wrong. The algorithm does not want people to see that one. Don't be afraid to fail. A lot of social media is just don't be afraid to fail.
So maybe you're not the best person to ask this, but if you have something you do and it takes off.
Yeah.
Is it but you don't like making that content. How do you balance that then?
I'll let you know when it happens.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
I had one TikTok that went crazy. It's pinned to the top of our TikTok. It's a stupid meme.
Yeah.
It was a template that I used in CapCut. I barely had to think at all to do it, but it got picked up because people love dice, and that's why it got picked up. I have tried to do the same thing again, and it just doesn't happen as well. I think there's a way to capture that audience and do that really silly trend that was dumb and you didn't like doing, but you captured that audience. And especially on TikTok, there's a really low chance that people are going to unfollow you.
Right.
So as long as you capture them and then engage with them and find out what they want to see, I think you can keep them without having to continue doing dances or whatever might be the case.
All right. So have you noticed any of those key trends in the geek space, more specifically the geek space that you are trying to adapt into content?
Yeah, I at least in our sphere, unboxings are really big. So, people love to see a game unboxing, a learn to play. People love to see cosplay footage. So I made it a mission this year to get a lot more cosplay content, whether it's videos or photos or whatever the case might be. Cosplay is huge and people love to see it. A lot of that too is I was very aware that when I came into the TikTok space that there were already a ton of board game content, so I don't need to make more board game content. I need to make convention-based content. And so I was able to like take my board games and like kind of flip it and be like, these are my favorite games. Here are X, Y, and Z content creators who are showing you how to play these games, so that like I kind of help boost them and they help boost me and we become internet friends, and then, you know, here we are.
And we're con friends.
Exactly.
Okay. So speaking to like signal boosting other content creators, like how do you kind of what's your advice for aspiring content creators on trying to make their mark in this geek space?
I would say to, you know, learn what your fans want, learn who you are trying to like get as your fan base, and figure out what, like, you really just have to figure out what they want to see, really. Feel free, message me, see if I, like, you know, I work with content creators every year at the show, so like message Gen Con. I probably will answer you, and I have a list of potential 2024 content creators already happening. But yeah, like if you're interested in taking and doing a takeover during the show, or like, you know, shoot your shot, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, if you are a big fan of PAX Unplugged, reach out to some different publishers and see if you can do a takeover. Like, even if you have like a really small base, a lot of them will say yes, because it'll help drive their engagement, it'll help drive your engagement, and like it creates a relationship between the content creators and them that will helps everybody. It's a very, you know, symbiotic relationship.
Okay. Any advice for people that want to like avoid being taken advantage of, because that's also a possibility?
Yeah, I would say know your worth. Like, you know your worth, compile your like data, know what you're willing to take, and you know, if a big company or somebody says, well, I can't give you that, then be like willing to walk away and like be like, okay, well, thank you for the time and, you know, everything. Maybe next year. I've had a few content creators do that to me, and all it did, and this is honestly what it did, is it made me go, oh, well, if I want to work with that content creator, which I really, really do, I need to change X, Y, and Z in order to do that. And so I have done that, and hopefully I'll be able to work with them in the future. So it's kind of one of those like, know your worth. Don't just like get stepped over, because you can make changes in this big company that you don't even realize are important yet.
Wow, that's awesome advice.
Yeah.
So kind of shifting a little bit now, let's shift a little bit of gears. So I know you've had opportunities, like we just said, to collaborate with other creators and everything in the space. Do you have like a story that's really memorable to you about getting to work with someone?
You know, I wish that I would be like, oh, they're here in the chat with us, but I don't think they are. I this past year worked with 6 different content creators. They all came from different demographics, different fan bases, different fandoms, and they were all the sweetest human beings ever. But I think my favorite one was Walt. His handle on TikTok is Professor Walt. Go follow him if you are into Pokemon, literally at all, or Lorcana. He's super into Lorcana. I had made this joke that if we broke records, that our president was going to take us all to Disneyland, and he didn't happen. I'm still a little bitter about it, but it's okay. I won't keep pointing fingers. One day. So he was like, I want to help you guys do this. This would be so fun. I have this huge Pokemon account, and I was like, let's do it. So we teamed up and we did a bunch of TikTok lives together. He came to the show. You know, we did some stuff in person. He did a couple takeovers. But he was the one who called me literally right as we broke 100,000 followers on Facebook and $40,000 or 40,000 followers on TikTok. He like he was like, "Oh my god, we did it! Oh my god, we did it!" And I was like, "We did it!" Like he called me, and then I like made a TikTok real quick. He then also I wasn't able to get like any Lord Connor product at all because of course I wasn't. And he went and got one of the cards signed for me from one of the artists that was there, and he came and found me and gave it to me, and it was like
That's
the
awesome.
like sweetest. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that at all, and he was like, "I got this one for you," and I was like, "Oh my god!" So like. I think like me and Walt are friends, and we will be friends for as long as we're around in the
Yeah.
geek space together. All of my content creators they were all so nice, and they were all so genuine, and like so excited to be there and to help do whatever I needed them to do. That like I don't know, there's just something about like the geeky fandom that really like brings us all together.
Yeah. So I know you do a bunch of other things for Gen Con besides just the social media director. I understand they're part of a D&D show that streams every Wednesday on Gen
Yeah.
Con TV.
Yeah, I am. That is true.
Can you tell us about
I,
that?
I sure can. So I play every other Wednesday, but the show is called Actoroki. It is a live D&D. We do it on Twitch. And then they take that, they make it into a script. They hire actors, and the actors portray us in like a movie-based situation. Peter is the producer. He's the owner, one of the owners of Gen Con. He's the nicest person I've ever met in my life. And I play every other Wednesday. This tomorrow, I was supposed to be playing as well, but my DM is out of town. So tomorrow, I'll be playing Dread, which will
Okay.
be the first time I've played Dread before. So I'm really excited about this. It's a lot of fun. The DM that normally is my DM, he is one of my coworkers. So he is the customer service manager for Gen Con. So we make a lot of jokes about Gen Con and all sorts of stuff while on the stream. But it's a lot of fun.
So what world is it set in?
So it is set in a wholly made up world that Peter came up with who knows how long ago. It's called the World of Chaldea. It is very just classic fantasy realm. It takes a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and they kind of mix it together. I am playing a halfling druid who is I got to start at 5th level, which was wild to me because I was joining another party who was losing a member. And so I have the circle of spores. So I am like a mushroom farmer that lived out in the woods for a really long time. And I have some pretty cool magic abilities that were gifted to me by my awesome DM.
So you said it, GenCon.tv. That is Gen Con's own hosted streaming service?
It is, yeah. So we have Gen Con TV, so it's our Twitch channel. It kind of goes right along with Gen Con Online. So every year when we do Gen Con Indie, we also do Gen Con Online, and that is something that we did during 2020 when we were shut down and we wanted to still have a convention, and we've just carried it over. It's a lot of fun. It's great for accessibility reasons. We do a lot of live Twitch streams. This past year, we had like a Good Morning America Gen Con. It was like Good Morning Gen Con and like Gen Con After Dark or whatever, which was like the late night TV show. And it was so fun to like meet these hosts. And we have really on Gen Con TV, you can find anything you want all year round. So we've got tabletop RPGs. We've got like what else do we have? Oh, Peter plays games versus the machine. So it's Peter versus the machine. So he plays against the computer, like AIs. It's really funny.
Who's the machine?
The machine. And then we have like a tabletop news channel. Like they have programming all week long on Gen Con TV, so you can keep the fun going all year long.
And you can get that on Twitch, correct?
You sure can. Yep.
And do you guys post anything to YouTube?
Oh, we do, yeah. So it does the Gen Con YouTube. You can video on demand, all of that stuff. So you can go watch my previous 3 episodes of Actoroki and see me break the DM on TV.
All right. So speaking a little bit more about like your actual role playing side of things, because when you create a character, have you created a lot of D&D characters or like tabletop characters?
I've created exactly 3.
Okay.
2 of which I've played for longer than one shot. So
Okay.
I did a Christmas one shot with my old job, which was chaotic and terrible. There was like 20 of us. Do not recommend.
No.
It was.
I
don't know what we were thinking. I don't know what we were thinking. We got like 1 turn each. It wasn't any fun. It was ridiculous. And then I have my original D&D character who is still out in the ether somewhere existing. And then I have Clary Gloom Bloom, my druid for Gen Con TV.
Okay, so when you create a character, do you like pull parts of yourself from it, or do you try and like just pull other outside stuff?
They're me. They're me in different skins. You know, my partner, he is so good at like doing voices, but I can't do a voice. I just can't. I was in acting for a long time, and I don't know. Voices are just not my thing. So I try. I guess I make them me, but in a world where like my first one, she was a tavern brawler fighter.
Okay.
And so like a tougher version of me that like could no nonsense, you know, ready to break up a fight. And then like this one is a little bit more like dreamy, kind of, you know, woo, kind of fae version. So, you know, they're me sorta.
Okay. Do you have like a favorite class or race or that you like playing?
So I have my pool is very small to pick from.
Or one you want to play, rather.
Ooh, okay. One I would love to give like a sorcerer a try. I'm like working a little bit more with spell slots with the druid, which I've never done before.
Right.
I really liked my fighter though, because it was just like not a whole lot of thinking. I just had to like roll some dice and just like do some cool fight moves. I loved being a fighter. I am a halfling this time, which I really like being a halfling. I like that I get to re-roll.
Yeah.
If it's like a 1, that's awesome. I love that.
So I know you said you haven't ever DM'd. Do you want to DM at some point?
I do. I talk about it all the time. I read a lot of books, as you can. That's just one of my bookshelves. And I think I could do it. I think I could make up a world and do it. And I think I would start with a book and see how that goes, and then maybe homebrew something up.
Right.
But I would like to DM. I don't know if it'll ever happen anytime soon. But who knows? Maybe I will.
See what maybe I can rope you into something.
Hey, I mean...
Announcing it now, Dani's DMing our holiday one-shot.
Oh, 20 people max.
Just doing everyone.
Here we go.
So, maybe not necessarily you, or how do you approach the portrayal of diverse characters and representation in your content? I don't know if that's really something you can answer, never DMing, but like with your characters that you have created, how do you kind of approach how you represent them?
And it's really hard because they're me, so it's kind of hard to be like, oh yeah, they're represented in a certain way. I think I just try and make sure to not like fall into any kind of stereotypes, right? You don't want to do that. Gen Con TV is really good about like focusing you and making sure that you're not like a stereotype of some sort, and like, you know, being like, hey, that's not okay, let's change it just a little bit. In my personal life, like, you know, it is very easy. So my other character was a very like Irish tavern brawler, and like I didn't want to fall, and like I am Irish, so but whatever. So but I didn't want to like, you know, continue with these stereotypes, especially like just in my friend group. You know, you don't want to like it's easy to fall into bad habits, and so
Right.
as long as you keep it in the forefront of your mind to not like engage and to try to like bring yourself back to reality, like I've been around players who are like, well, it's a fantasy world, I can do whatever I want, and it's like,
Mhm.
no, let's not.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that. Are you sure?
Really? This is what we're gonna go with?
I don't think this is okay.
Honey, sweetie, no.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
um, so is there any like franchises or characters that have had an influence on your character building?
Oh
Or at
man.
least or you in general?
That's two different questions. I think
Give me both.
I, you know, okay. Uh, and I can't remember what her name is, but in Fern Gully, the little like fairy,
Yes.
I feel like she's really a lot of what I'm like channeling when I'm playing Clary is like,
Okay.
you know, she's like kind of a similar vibe. Also like, you know, the hobbits are like Harfoots from Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
like they're very much a similar vibe. Uh you know, I don't know like like anything that's like made me who I am based on a fantasy or a franchise character. That's a hard question. I don't
I'm here
know.
for the hard
You
hitting
got me.
questions.
You got me.
All right. Well, what kind of effect has all these different things you've kind of come in through geek space and everything like that? How has that kind of affected your life and like your mental health? Is that something you want to talk about?
Yeah, you know, it's a tough world to put yourself on the internet. Period. End of sentence. I think that I have learned to compartmentalize a lot when it comes to like what I like, especially what I post on Gen Con social media, versus what I post on my own. I don't tend to post very often. I've kind of stepped back from social media. I post a little bit, but like it's mostly when it's your job, it's not as fun to do
Right.
for, you know, your personal life. Um, I would say like I know my own worth, and I know what like I know how the people around me view me, so like an internet troll can't hurt my feelings.
Right.
And I've had some try really hard, and like there's been a few that have like, you know, chipped away, and I was like, this sucks. But, you know, I it is a tough thing. I would say like being in the geek space has given me like I have so much more patience now for like a lot of stuff, like teaching and like helping people learn how to play games or how to like understand things a little bit more. Um I don't know, it's very interesting cuz it can definitely affect you in a positive or a negative way, and I think that
Mhm.
it has overwhelmingly affected me in a positive manner.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um. All right. Get ready to wrap up on these questions here. Is there
Whoa,
any?
come on.
I know. Any dream projects or collaborations that you'd love to pursue in the future?
I want Post Malone to come to
Oh
Gen Con.
my god.
Right? What do we have to do?
The minute you said it, I was like, that's freaking perfect. Hit up Posty, everyone.
Yeah, everybody tag Gen Con and Post Malone, and make sure to tell him that we have a lot of Magic events. He can just come to play Magic. I don't need him to do anything else. I just want him to hang out.
Just like what, Paul Logan or whatever one of the Logan kids wore, the
Yeah.
Pikachu shirt or whatever it was, that have him just wear the
Yeah.
one ring throughout the whole
Exactly.
event.
Exactly. Like, let me take a picture with that ring, that card, and say less. That's all I want. That's all I want. So everybody tag Gen Con and tag Post Malone,
Posty.
and let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
That would
This is my year.
That would be absolutely insane. Like, Gen Con's insane as it is, but like just the amount of
Wouldn't
people
it?
that would be there because of him. Whew.
Then maybe I would get to go to Disneyland.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That you get Posty, you go to Disney.
If I get Posty, I'm taking myself to Disneyland.
So, finally, what message or impact do you hope to leave in the geek space?
I guess this goes back to the diversity, and just I want everyone to know that Gen Con, tabletop gaming, the tabletop hobby in general is for every single person. Even if you don't think that it's for you, if you think that you're going to be too weird at the D&D table, you're going to not understand how to play, you're going to ask too many questions, it doesn't matter. We're going to love you. We're going to accept you. You're welcome at the table. You're welcome here. Come hang out.
Awesome. All right. With that, we're going to open up the questions to the viewers. And while we wait for those questions to come in, we're going to switch over to our Dicey Questions segment. So, Dani, D20 up. Let's do it. Go ahead and roll your first question.
I'm so excited for this part. Even though I am notoriously a terrible roller. 18.
18. All right. I've been wanting to ask this question for every guest because I love Studio Ghibli movies. What is your favorite Studio Ghibli film?
Secret Life of Arietti is my favorite one of all time.
I've heard that one.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So that's my favorite one, followed by Kiki's Delivery Service.
Kiki's a good one.
Secret Life of Arietti is basically The Borrowers. Do you know The Borrowers?
Yes.
It's basically that. It's what The Borrowers is based off of. So, tiny humans borrowing things from the giant, big, regular-sized humans.
Is it on Max? I know they have all the Studio Ghibli films on Max. So
Probably.
I'll have to look for it.
I have it on DVD, so I don't know.
Just mail it to me. All right, give me another dice roll.
All right. Ooh, an 8.
If you were...
What is my modifier?
0. If you were a D&D class, what would you be, and what would your stat build look like?
I think, again, I have very few knowledge about these kind of thing, but I think I would be like a sorcerer or a wizard, someone who's just reading a ton of books, learning a lot of things.
Yeah, that sounds like a wizard.
Saving the world periodically. So, yeah, I think that's what I would be. And I think I would have high perception and kind of low charisma. I feel like I wouldn't be able to read people very well, but I would know everything that was going on.
Yeah, definitely more wizard than sorcerer.
Noted. I'm going to make a little note.
All right. We got a few questions in. Give me another D20 roll and see where we're at. 10. Okay. Well, this is apt. What is in your hoard? What do you collect?
It would be books.
Yeah.
It would be books or board games. Probably books, though.
You have a shining example of your hoard? Your coup de grace?
I do. Hold on. Let's see if I can make this happen without too much of a internet. It's behind me. This is hard to see. This is my kind of my horror book selections. This is mostly horrors and thrillers.
Okay.
Right there. I've got a skull. I've got some taxidermy animals on the top.
As you do.
Who doesn't? It's a 2-headed duck. How was I supposed to say no?
Yeah, I get that.
How was I supposed to say no?
All right, we're in an ad break, so I'm going to wait till we get back from the ad break to go to our viewer questions. So let's get another dice roll.
All right. 14.
Console or PC gamer?
I am a console player. I play the Switch, so I'm mostly a Switch player.
Okay.
I basically very baby new to video games in general. I have been told to try out PC games, but we'll see. We'll see.
You have a favorite Nintendo game?
I do. Right? Well, I don't know if it's Nintendo based. See, this is how new to video gaming I am, is I don't exactly know what the answer to this is. I'm playing Animal Crossing and Fae Farm right now. Those are my two, like, I've been playing Animal Crossing for 3 years now, so like,
Okay.
come at me.
Picked it up on the pandemic and didn't put it down.
I think this is my bell blanket. It's just a big.
That's phenomenal.
It's just bells.
All right. We got a minute left, so go ahead and give me one more roll.
You want another one? I can make it a good one. 15.
Favorite movie or TV series genre?
So movie genre is going to be definitely like horror or thriller. I love the anxiety feeling of, what's going to happen. TV series, though, I'm a workplace comedies. The Office, Parks and Rec. Just any of those like workplace, friend group comedies, I'm in.
Ensemble cast
I love
all
it.
day.
Exactly.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie?
Yeah.
Oh God, what a question. I don't even know. I mean, my favorite movie of all times, which is not even like falls in my genre at all, is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's like my favorite
Solid fucking movie.
Period. End of the conversation. But my favorite horror movie is gonna be like probably Hereditary. Ooh, that one.
Geez, yeah.
Ooh, that was a good one.
All right.
Everybody go watch it.
All right, so we're back from the ad break. So we're going to go into our viewer questions now.
Let's do it.
This is all going to be from our social media manager, Taz. So she has a lot of questions for you.
Ask me all the questions. I'm here for it.
So she's also a big reader, loves her book talk and everything like that.
Me too.
She asks, so you're a big reader, any favorite books this year?
Oh gosh. Let's see. My favorite books of this year. I'm gonna pull up my stats because I don't want to lie. What are my 5 stars? I did read Tomorrow, and Tomorrow, I think is what it's called. It's kind of a video game-esque book. It's very good. One of my favorites this year for sure. Let's see. Oh, A Psalm for the Wild Built was like a novelette. It is a very fantasy realm where there is a monk robot and he meets some travelers and it's cute.
Okay.
Yeah. Remarkably Bright Creatures. Pacific Northwest dream of a book. That's a great one.
Okay.
I don't know. I've got so many. I read a lot. You did good. I won't tell that, you just
blew up her spot.
Yeah, if you just blew it up, I won't tell.
So we already asked video games, and you gave us your most recent obsession, which is still,
I did.
3 years later, it's still
Animal Crossing.
I
went to PAX West a month ago, whatever. I don't know what time of the year it is anymore. And that's where I learned about Fae Farm, and Fae Farm is really fun too. That one's a little Animal Crossing meets kind of D&D because there's like quests that you go on and you can go into the Fae realm. Okay. I just got my wings in the game, so I love that. I would say if I had to pick a like genre for video game, it's definitely cozy games. So like,
gotcha.
Farming sims, animal taking care of sims.
All right.
That's the one.
Emmeline Sterling, Lindy just popped into chat, says, hey, Lindy. Do you have any questions for Dani? Go ahead and shoot them in there. Did you meet Lindy this year at Gen Con?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. She's
I don't know.
does the Tavern Core pirate music.
Oh,
She
cool.
made the music
Sure.
video this year.
Oh, that's so cool.
Okay. Let's see. Next question is: after experiencing Gen Con, are there any other conventions you're dying to check out?
Oh my gosh. Yes and no. Like I love Gen Con and I love being able to like go to that every year, but I really like I would love to go to PAX Unplug or Unplugged. That's a big one that I would like to go to. And then I would also maybe one day I would go to Essen, just go to Germany
Okay.
for board games. Like that sounds so fun.
Yeah.
So those two are like on the bucket list, and one is a lot easier to accomplish than the
Yeah.
other one.
PAX in Philly or or
Right,
Germany?
right,
I think the Germany
exactly,
one's the one to go for. Just a quick hop and skip.
exactly. Just a
Um,
quick.
so, who is the biggest gaming celebrity you've met at Gen Con?
Um, hmm. I don't know if he really counts because I feel like he just counts as a celebrity. Matthew Lillard. So
Okay.
Matthew Lillard is one of the owners of. He's one of the exhibitors. He comes as an exhibitor, and he's in the um exhibit hall periodically. Nice guy. It's wild to be like, oh, I just watched you on a movie last night. Oh, this is so weird. Um, but him, and then I would say I did last year get to meet Bill Farmer and Jason. I can't remember what his last name are. They're the voice of Goofy and Max from the Goofy movie,
Okay.
and that was amazing.
All right.
So I would say those like are my recent ones. There was when I first started at Gen Con, I not like when I was volunteering, I got to meet some of the Critical Role cast, but like I didn't know who they were at the time. I was like, oh
Right.
cool. I don't know. It was a funny one. And then not at Gen Con, I've met Richard Garfield a few times. So like,
Okay.
you know, I've met a few cool people.
Nice. Nice.
But Matthew Lillard, I think, is the one
Who doesn't
that
love
I
Matthew
believe.
Lillard?
Right. I just watched
National
Scream last
treasure.
night, and I was like, ugh, Matthew Lillard.
um. Favorite food truck at Gen Con?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean,
These
I
are
have to have.
these are your opinions only, not Gen Con's. We're not
Yep.
Gen Con is not supporting a
Yep.
specific truck.
Gen Con does not have a favorite food truck. I would say that I love Island Noodle. So Island Noodle is one of my like favorite, but they're not really a food truck. They're a permanent stall. So I feel like I can get around this question a little bit.
Okay.
This year we had so many food trucks. We had more food truck. We had like double the amount of food trucks than we normally do.
Wow.
But my favorite this year was the poke one. So there was the poke bowl,
Yeah.
and I love a poke bowl. So that one I went there like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, that looked good. I didn't have it this year, but it looked good. I don't think I even ate this whole weekend. The whole weekend in Gen Con, I don't think I ate.
Look, that is one way to not get burnt out is if you eat on a regular schedule.
If you weren't a social media manager, what would your ideal job be?
Wow. Okay. So this is completely wild. My degree, do I still have you? I do. Okay. My degree is in forest management.
Okay.
So I don't have a marketing degree. I have a forest management degree. So I think I would be like a science teacher if I didn't work in any kind of social media sphere. I would be a science teacher. This is my cat.
What is your cat's name?
That's Cassian.
Cassian?
Cassian.
Like Andor?
Yep, exactly like Andor.
Is it really?
And then I have it really is. So he's Cassian Andor. I have Padme Amidala down here. She's my dog. And then my cat before Cassian, his name was Chewbacca Taco. Chewy Taco for short.
I love it. I love it so much.
Start of the Star Wars names, and then I just kept going.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions we got. So, if there's anything else you'd like to say,
the Korean corn dog truck. I didn't even try them. Now I'm sad. I love a Korean corn dog.
I mean, I don't even know what that looks like, but it sounds great.
Do some quick Googling after this. They're awesome.
Yeah.
It's
Okay. So that's gonna bring us to the end. I think that's gonna end our investigation check. I think it's safe to say we rolled a natural 20. Thank you so much, Dani, for joining me tonight and allowing us to dive in. That being said, anything you want to plug? Where can people catch you next?
yeah. Tomorrow on Gen Con TV, I'll be playing Dread for the first time. So come check me out. It's twitch.tv/Gen Con TV. Super easy to remember where we are. You can follow me at Through Dani's Eyes on Instagram if you want to see what books I'm reading, what I'm eating, see more of my adorable pets. Really anything in the Pacific Northwest if you have ever been interested in there. Check out here. This is a non-me plug. Check out Silent Book Club in your area. If you're a book reader, go and find a cool silent book club near you. This is a really cool concept I'm a part of here in Seattle, where we get together in local bars and we read books for about an hour and a half just together. That's it. That's all it is. It's so much fun. I'm a host, so you'll see if you follow my Instagram, you'll see my post every month. And then come to Gen Con. Come to Gen Con and be my friend. Come see me at Gen Con.
See you, Gen Con.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dani. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone,
thanks for
joining
having
us.
me.
Oh, I'm telling you, it was my absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come and have a chat with me.
Anytime. Literally
right.
anytime.
Well, that being said, everyone, we'll see you later, Geeks. We love you.
Bye.